Nope. Guess we could just talk about it. We can just imagine, Liam.
That other person who tried to join now.
All right, we are live streaming.
So, I guess we'll call the meeting to order. Right time of 6:03. We have the spot on there for the public comment. Hearing none.
Nope.
We need to approve the agenda, however, we only have 2 people. So the agenda is great. We like it. I guess we want to approve it, but it's here and we're gonna use it, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There also is that, I know that safety plan is one
Yes.
that I emailed, that needs to also be approved.
Yeah, and we have a couple grants here.
I emailed Sarah Kelly about that, so I don't know how that would work, but maybe we could like have like board members like email in a vote or something. I don't know. I think there's a way that we can like approve things after tonight without having to have another meeting.
Okay.
So I think that's something we would need to explore.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. That's on there. We also need to talk through some grant stuff too.
Yeah.
So. Okay, well, did anyone notice any edits for the minutes? We can at least note any edits from last month.
No.
All right. This is weird. Next up, financial report. I don't know that we have one.
Yeah, I can walk us through. So, if, I don't know if y'all wanna look at it with me, but I have the financials in the cover sheet pulled up. I don't have a fancy, slideshow. So this is our July financials. Right now, our debt service, our days cash on hand, is at 52.05. And then our debt service coverage ratio is at 1.78. I think that is still sitting pretty high because we're doing the trailing 12 months, which
Mhm.
includes the bus purchases. And so there will be a moment where, Jonathan talked about extracting that out and showing this trailing 12 months and then kind of like a true, like real time, debt service. So I'm not sure when he plans on pulling that out, but I would assume before the next board meeting,
Yeah.
he'll pull that out. So currently we're in compliance with both of those. Looking into the financials, we are in the Education Improvement Act. One thing that Jonathan noted that our teacher supply money came in a little higher than it did last year, which is a positive. Everything within the first month looks fairly normal, just because we're just in the first month. The one big purchase that Jonathan noted was in the technology and data processing. So we did buy about $25,000 worth of Chromebooks. That's in our plan each year. We usually try to re-up Chromebooks in 3rd grade particularly. So we just provide 3rd graders with brand new devices. And then we hope that they just travel up with them through the years, and that's kind of our way of like giving that grade a fresh and then kind of replacing them here and there, repairing them here and there. So we always try to start 3rd grade with a fresh pair of Chromebooks and then use their old Chromebooks for repairs and replacements and things like that. That the 8th graders exit out of, we use theirs to kind of push out for different things. So nothing else really noteworthy. He did also discuss, that our per pupil allocation, for like our state aid to classroom, our student, allocation, has come in a little lower than what the district projected at 4450 number, 4,450 per student. And then it's at 4304, which is mainly because the state budget has not been approved, I don't think. And so the hope is that it won't remain at this 4304 number, that it will eventually go up to the 4450. I don't know.
No, that,
And that's what I don't know, if they are like retroactively giving us that money back. So, so the expectation is still a per pupil increase, but not sure like when that'll happen. And so just kind of based off of that, just being really mindful of spending as we move into the school year. With just that allocation being a little lower, and then, the allocation being a little lower, just being mindful of spending in general, and what our monthly allocation will be. And that was really the highlights that he made in the financial report in our finance committee meeting. If y'all have any questions, feel free to
was
ask.
that 4304 the one from last year and it just carries over?
So no, at some point, it kind of fluctuates throughout the year, and at some point there are these different times where it could change. Now you may not know this, there's 135th day that you all know about, but there's
Yeah.
also like 180th day reporting pull where something also changes during that time. So I don't think that's the last year, but it kind of changes somewhat throughout the year. You know, like, I would say like school funding is a whole like doctorate degree within itself. It's very complicated.
So different.
Like when you get into like weightings and get into sped things and how they're weighted differently, it's just a lot. And then you got membership, and like you only get funded for certain students who attend a certain amount of days. So there's Jonathan. Well,
We'll pretend like we didn't hear anything you just said.
okay.
I'll re-ask him my questions.
Okay. Let's see if we can get them in.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry about that.
Hey, Jonathan. Good. Well, I just kind of rambled through the financial report.
Good enough.
I, Paige had some questions that maybe you can answer. I don't know if it's worth like going through the whole thing again, but.
Yeah. Why? Look, how about because I was late, I will answer any question you have.
Love that. Do we not get a fun presentation either?
You can have a fun presentation if you want.
Wow.
Let's do it. Hold on, let me share my screen. Oh, it says only the host can share.
Okay, I was trying to figure those settings out, and I couldn't. Let me see if I can give you.
No, I had another an appointment that bumped right up against it, and I thought I could swing both of them, and it ran a couple of minutes long.
Gotcha. Let's see. What more? What does more do?
We would survive without the presentation.
Yeah. Well, while I try to do this, Paige was wondering, we were talking about like the per pupil allocation is a little lower, and she was asking, is that the carryover from last year numbers, or does it like fluctuate to some kind of like formula? Or where exactly did that number come from?
Yeah, it is a formula of a formula of a formula that extends from the state's budget for public education. So at the very beginning of this year, so July 1, they had not yet approved the budget for the new fiscal year. So unlike you guys, they had not approved their budget by crunch time. And so they couldn't hand down the money in the appropriate amounts. We haven't heard any, so the budget's based off of 4450, which is the dollar over the course of the year for each of your weighted pupil units. So I saw that your ADM came in at just under the budget of 375. So I haven't gone through that calculation yet, Curtis, but I will I'll do that tomorrow morning. I've been grinding on another project, but um, the biggest thing there is that this lower amount is not something that will carry on. The district still feels confident that that 4450 is a good average over the course of the year, which means there will likely be catch up. These amounts fluctuate, but there's also the district was approved for an extra several millions of dollars in like excess funding because the district is growing. And so I don't know specifically what that would look like for lead, but I know that the pool has the potential to grow. And if the pool grows, your slice of the pie grows. Um, so yeah, the came in at what 4304, which was just not excellent. Um, and so that may continue with the August funding. It may not, but I know that with the new funding that starts in September, it will not continue. Like things, I I'm I'm pretty confident that that figure is going to average out at the 4450, which means there's got to be something significantly higher to average us out.
Cool.
Thank you.
Of course.
Are there any other questions for John?
I'm happy to talk through the presentation, even if I can't share it.
Okay.
Um, so for everybody's sake, um, financials are almost ready to go to the auditor. They were pretty simple this year, which I love to see. Got just some deeper analysis. You've hit your covenants. You're gonna it's gonna be great. Um, the bottom line was always my biggest concern. Just net income wise. Trailing 12-month is still a loss, but I'll talk through whole figures. Unrestricted cash. So savings and checking account ended at just over 680,000, which is 52, I believe, days cash on hand. 52.05. So right about half of that in savings. So, I mean, a tiny, tiny dip, maybe $10,000-$20,000 dip from the end of June to the end of July. So funding, as we would expect, super heavy on the state funding for this first month. Little bit of local revenue. Obviously, that'll pick up the longer students are in seats. Things uh, like tech fees and other student fees and athletics and all the things will pick up, and grants and donations and anything else. And then federal funding, because there's no carryover, there was no carryover from fiscal 25, so there won't be any money to claim in these first couple of months until the district approves some new stuff. As far as expenses go, so your total revenue was $421,813. So 408 of that was state funding, and then the remaining 13,000 was your local revenue. Your expenses came in at 433,000, which puts you at a net deficit for the month at $11,649. A lot of that is relative to the decrease in revenue. Not only that, but an increase in spend in July and August as you're ramping up. So really, we're watching it to, if it stays low through September, that's when, we can have operational discussions, but I don't see that as necessary right now because we know that these are heavier months, especially with lighter funding. And right now, your instructional spend is at 48%, which is a far cry from where it was at the end of last year.
Yeah.
So, yep. So your trailing 12-month debt service coverage ratio is the 1.78. I think I mentioned in the finance committee meeting, I'll start just as I did last year, I'll start breaking out those one-time items, things like the bus purchase, just to see like a truer representation of like where are we at with just regular like ongoing operations. Yeah, just so I'll show like a true 12 month like I did uh in the financial packet, but I'll also want to show you like a hey, this is what's broken out because we want to see like okay, without the revenue from the EPA grant and the debt service coverage ratio add back of the bus purchase, where would we be at? You know,
Yeah.
like are we is what we're doing sufficient to operate the school or are we relying on these big home runs?
Yeah.
And so that's that that is not founded in any sort of data up until this point. So, but I'll be sure to provide that moving forward. But like I said, your covenants are hit thus far. I don't see anything that looks worrisome. Um, Obviously, we want funding to keep going back up. Um, but those are the biggest points. You guys have any questions after that?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. I know,
Sure.
our Title I and Title IV has been delayed. Um, just wondering, is every school in the same position kind of waiting for like the preliminary allocations for that? Or has anybody gotten those, or have you heard anything?
I, I well, one, I would assume that everybody's on the same page, but two, I have not heard anything from any of our other schools.
Okay,
Um, yeah, no, I've not. No, that honestly, I don't expect anything to be like other than like maybe a preliminary approval early, but like I don't foresee anything being approved until like January, especially with how up in the air the state funding, like the base funding was. I know the district wants to get things rolling along, but they need to we need to have all of the ducks in a row. You know, there,
okay.
yeah. But no,
And,
I haven't heard anything from anybody else about like, oh yeah, we got our approval.
okay, cool. And my second question is, um, in that operations and maintenance and plant, we budgeted some extra money in 6530 for the charging station.
Hmm.
And we're having some conversations that we're hopeful that we can get that reduced significantly. But
Awesome.
say that we do, like, say that we come in like at half of that, does
Hmm.
that help our debt service? Uh, if it's, um, I guess if it's, in that capital, if it's coded as capital or not, just kind of curious of what that looks like.
So yeah, so I hear you sort of talking through two different thoughts. So one is coding it as capital outlay versus not. Um, yes, coding it. The purchase of this infrastructure would be considered a capitalizable expense, and that would be an add back against your net income for the debt service coverage ratio. The other piece of that I heard you mention was like a reduced cost. So say it comes in instead of at 80, it comes in at 40. It doesn't necessarily help or harm your debt service coverage ratio as far as like, hey, this is still like if I've got my bottom line at 50,000, I take out 80 and I'm left with negative 30, but then I add back the 80 and I'm still at 50. And the same thing happens if I plus and minus 40,000. What it does benefit is your cash flow. Your days cash on hand is benefited, but also just your regular ongoing operations. Um, More money in the bank if you spend less.
Gotcha.
You know, we could go out and spend $1 million on new. About I don't know why a forklift came to mind, but you can buy a really cool forklift, right? Top of the line, or you could buy a used one. But like the impact on that ratio, just from a numbers standpoint, that debt service coverage ratio wouldn't be impacted one way or the other.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, if you guys have any other questions, please send them my way. I'm happy to talk through whatever, even if it means hopping on a call or doing anything necessary. And again, apologies for being so late.
No problem. Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you. Have
Of
a good
course.
night.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
All right. Moving on, mission in a minute.
Oh, I did not have it, did not receive it.
I was trying to see if I could get access. I remember kind of what it was.
Yeah.
So let's
I
see,
don't think I was.
usually she links it in this, but she sent the.
She might not have
version.
sent it to you since you're like moved over to.
Yeah. I never got it.
There it is, I think. Will it load? Will it load? All right. This is Paige speaking on behalf of Jerry. LEAD Academy equips individuals to be well-rounded leaders through the principles of be nice, work hard, serve well, and have fun. And this month's mission in a minute is about program growing to meet every child's need. Yes. In less than 2 years, our development delay program has grown from a small support class to a full day K through 12 or K through 2 program and a hybrid program serving older students. We've expanded from sharing space to having a dedicated classroom and sensory room for students with the highest needs. Today, we serve 13 students across these programs, and our next goal is to create 2 dedicated classrooms, one designated for the specific needs of each age group. We're incredibly proud of how quickly this program has grown and the dedication of our incredible staff who have made this possible. And we have some stuff. Really exciting. I know that's huge for you guys.
Yes.
And that means a lot to the students and their families and potential students to see the dedication you guys have to students with special needs.
Awesome.
Very cool. All right, shall we move on to the principals?
Yeah, I was gonna say the principal's report, I can just kind of piggyback off the sped. So what's also cool about our sped department is that it's growing. This school year, even beyond the developmental delay class, we have our hybrid self-contained class and just our normal kind of tutorial and inclusion model. Our sped department is growing tremendously, which is great for our school because I think that's the model that we're going for. We want to be a school that is able to accept students in any kind of no matter what their disability is and level, we want to be able to accommodate all students and serve them here. And I would say I think we are one of the only charter schools that has a full self-contained class outside of some others that are specifically sped schools such as like the Meyer Center, and there's another one called Lakes and Bridges. Outside of those 2 schools, I think we're the only one that has a self-contained class, which is really awesome. And our team has worked really hard to be able to implement that class over the past couple of years. And so, yeah. So shifting just a little bit, so our enrollment numbers, drum roll. So we did our 5th grade report, and I'm going to just write it on the board, so you can have it.
Ooh, the anticipation, this is fun.
So our projected numbers were, in our budget was for 375,
Mhm.
and we came at 374.4.
What?
We almost hit it right on the head, yeah.
Wow.
So I'm gonna count that as like we achieved our projection.
That is a huge kudos to all the work I know Rachel put in beforehand,
Yeah,
using the new software.
Yeah.
The person who's in now and
Yeah.
just keeping
Yeah.
those connections. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
yeah, it was a huge team effort.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, Rachel did a lot of work as she transitioned out. And then we kind of had this period where we didn't have anybody, and like the whole team just kind of rallied together,
That's awesome.
making phone calls, touching base with parents and following up. And then Candace Morris, who's our new family coordinator, came in just like ready to roll, and she's been a great addition to the team.
Great.
And just kind of jumping in and helping us,
Yeah.
get ready for the school year. So it was great.
That's awesome.
And then I would say another cool thing to note that is also like a funding was when I talked about our sped department is growing. So last year we ended the year with 51 total students with IEPs.
Mhm.
And starting this year, that grew to 67 students that we're serving with IEPs.
That's
So,
incredible.
so as we talked about, expanding the department is great. That's what we're trying to do. That's also good for some of the funding because they're funded differently. But also that is like kind of stretching our sped department with just the amount of students that they have to serve.
Mhm.
So that would just be a thought. So I'm really curious, after we kind of calculate the fifth day numbers,
Yeah.
what does that look like to be able to like support the sped teachers and the increased numbers also
Yeah.
with whatever we can do. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going. I have a few more things to report on. So from our instructional department, we have 26 students at the end of last year who scored on already in the 90th percentile and above. And so that was really cool. We got to highlight them and we did or we will be in our September newsletter, highlighting those students that scored in the 50th percentile. We are able now also to offer 5 high school credits for the first time ever in
Wow.
academy history. So technically, so this year, if you're an 8th grader, you can only get 4 high school credits. So that is, you can get a high school credit through English 1,
Mhm.
through geometry, through Spanish 1, and then through honor band.
Nice.
And so if you're a 7th grader right now, and if you're in Spanish 1, you can get that Spanish 1 this year, high school credit. Then next year you can get Spanish 2, geometry, English 1, and honor band.
That's so cool. Nice.
So we're really excited to be able to provide
awesome,
that
yeah.
opportunity, and we're trying to push that information out to parents. So like, you know, students that are 5th, 6th, 7th can, you know, have those goals to work towards and to pursue some of those high school credit classes. We have started, Darren might get to some of this in the academic committee portion, but we are in the middle of our ready testing right now, and we'll be starting our skills block testing. For the first year, we did a staggered start with our kindergarten students, so about half of them started on that first day on Thursday, the other half on Friday. So it kind of gave us an opportunity to like kind of slow roll them in to get used to the procedures and routine of school and those types of things. So our kindergarten teachers really enjoyed that. So we hopefully to make that a regular thing. From development, we have our POP fundraiser. That's our big fundraiser that we did last year. I think we raised maybe close to $25,000 last year. That would be, our kickoff is going to be on August 26th. That's next Wednesday. Where we do like a big school-wide assembly, and we're really hoping for even more funds this year. And
Remind me, what's that fundraiser again?
so it's the POP fundraiser, so it's where the students enter contacts, so you would just kind of
Yeah, okay.
gather as many
That sounds
contacts
good.
to enter in
Yeah,
the system, and
yeah,
then it kind of.
Right, okay, yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's good.
And we try to use those on have fun initiatives such as Fun Friday, Friday Circle,
Okay.
troops,
Yeah.
ice skating, those types of things. And so, those are to fund our have fun initiatives. From the parent and family, department, we are planning to have a high school fair soon for our 8th graders, so they can kind of explore, the different charter high schools and different Greenville County high schools that might fit their preferences or their interests. And then we've also, in that enrollment department also is the parent and family. We've been looking at a different type of like marketing strategy. And so traditionally we have thought of enrollment in like seasons, and we're kind of abandoning that idea, and we have, kind of settled on that there is no enrollment season. So like enrollment season is all the time. And so we kind of focused on it month by month. So, you know, in August, it could be just like a heavy, like getting to know the school and what's the instructional focus and hearing from the principal. And then September could be kind of a different approach. And so, just looking at, how we can kind of keep, messaging in a way where we can keep families that we have here kind of informed and engaged and what's happening around the school, but also at the same time engaging new and prospective families constantly.
Yeah.
And so that's just a new venture that we've been working on. We have outlined kind of monthly task, I think maybe up until like around December. So if you care to see them, that reach out to me and I can share some of those things with you. And that is the end of our principals report.
It's a good one. Lots of good news. Thank you. Should we just see what we can do about this safety plan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we could at least talk about
Yeah, I
it.
read through it. Did you
Yeah.
get a chance to look
Yeah.
at it? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Looks good to me.
it looked great.
Yeah.
Just email it out. and just-
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, it's just getting it, so part of the submission process
Mhm.
is, having it board approved, so we just need to kind of follow up on how to get that done to show the evidence that it was like
Yes.
on the agenda and it was approved, so.
Okay. Well, guess we'll move on to committee updates.
Okay. Well, academic committee, we got rolling, yesterday, was it?
Yes.
Yesterday?
Was yesterday.
And so that was, me, Curtis Lee, Ms. Schneider, and Ms. Majors, part of that committee. So the first thing we talked about was testing. We have the KRA, Kindergarten Readiness Assessment going on. Also have iReady. So iReady takes place at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year.
Right, there's a winter, yeah.
In winter, fall,
winter,
winter,
spring.
right,
Yeah, so
the students set goals for themselves, correct? Is that what I remember?
No, so I already will set a goal for you.
Okay,
Right?
okay.
That's like your marker when you try to
Okay.
reach that goal that it sets for you.
Okay, so they're doing that, and then we don't have any results yet from the South Carolina, readiness test.
Yes, you're right.
Yes, ready, not yet, but that will come hopefully in August.
Yes, or September, hopefully by the next academic.
Okay.
meeting.
Okay, and then, now Chris, remind me about the Read to Success, the Read to Succeed program. I
Yes.
think, what was,
So the Read to Succeed law is a law, that applies to our third graders. So if they receive below, like a not met on the end of year testing, then, they are like recommending those students for retention. So then, if they're receiving not met in third grade, they have to attend summer school, and then by the end of summer school, they have to take another round of iReady testing to hopefully either test out or they could be, retained. And we had, this past summer, we had a few students that participated and they all tested out, so we had no students that
Nice.
had to be retained.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, yeah. And as Curtis mentioned, kindergarten staggered start went wonderfully. That was great. He also mentioned enrollment, 374. I had 371, but I think, but that's the day it was
That was
371.
yeah,
Yes,
that's
we-
official.
Yeah,
so.
so that's official, so that's great.
Yeah.
The biggest thing we talked about is Charter Inspire as a program to get, those individuals that are working in a charter school, get them certified, which I think is an awesome program. And so, Mrs. Majors is the one responsible for that here, that supervises that. So the qualifications are you have to have a bachelor, right? And you have to pass Praxis 1, which is your Praxis core,
Lord, don't I know.
reading, math, Praxis.
Yeah.
And then, your Praxis content, Praxis 2, be able to do that. And I believe then you have an in-service certificate, correct?
Mhm.
In-service certificate, and you'll be working with a mentor for a year to 18 months. And after that, you are committed, once you're in the program, you're committed to staying at a charter school for 3 years.
Mhm.
And then at that point, you can receive your certification. And that certification is for public schools, I guess, like a true
Professional certificate, yeah.
yeah, professional certificate, which is awesome. Obviously, the hopes is for you to stay in the charter school. But, the cost is $1,200. And, you cannot be enrolled in any other, teaching program.
Okay.
Yeah, so, awesome. I mean, I think it's a great way to get teachers in charter schools and, affordable price.
Yep.
And, they get their in-service credit while they're actually working,
Mhm.
so,
Yeah, that was cool.
can't beat that. Yeah.
Very neat.
So, and then, I think that's about it. There was something else that I didn't quite get. And maybe it has to do with the safety plan about the charter schools. I forgot. the
Oh,
name of
yeah,
it.
so the Charter Act, so,
Charter Act,
there was
yes.
a Charter Act passed by the state that, is giving more accountability measures around charter schools. It's a pretty lengthy, piece of legislation. And so what our district is, they're kind of slow rolling each part of that out so that like schools just aren't overwhelmed with like trying to get in compliance.
Yeah.
Like right now. And so one of the first policies that they're asking us to write is geared towards teachers whose certificates have been revoked. And so they just want you to talk about like, if you currently have teachers that have a revoked certificate, that you have to terminate them, so you need to have policy around how to terminate them, and then also like not hiring teachers that have certificates that have been revoked. And so, that will also, that will be coming probably the next board meeting to be approved, and then we'd have to submit that to the district for, our official policy.
Yeah,
compliance.
well, it does.
Yeah. So there's a ton of other things, but they're just kind of slow rolling it out. So probably every few meetings or so, there might be a new compliance thing that we'll have to approve. That's part of this charter act.
Great,
That's it.
thank you. Executives on here, I don't have.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Development, we have a couple grants that need to be approved, but we'll figure that out later.
Okay.
Send those out.
I guess.
Yeah, send those out. Yeah.
Yeah, there was 1, 2, 3, 6.
Okay.
And then also Sarah had a note that you all submitted the funding proposal to our bigger donor.
Yes.
She prefers that ahead of time,
Yeah.
so that's great.
Yeah.
Getting that ball moving and improving, that's awesome. There's still a need of $11,899 for the West. This was as of last week. And you kind of talked already about looking into quotes for charging stations when you were mentioning the potential things changing around. But because it wasn't included in the grant to cover that, we can kind of venture out and maybe look into some more economical options. So it sounds like that is going really well. We've got some good leads.
Yep.
Yeah.
To kind of make sure we're getting the right type of charging station, and then just making sure that it's gonna serve well without being over the top. And then depending on what that looks like, will determine the timeline.
Yes.
So if it is a charging station that's not as robust, then the timeline would be significantly shorter. If it was a more robust charging station, then of course, that is gonna be much longer. So just really aware of that need is still out there. And I think there was a grant that Sarah went for that we were hoping would come through for the charging stations, and it didn't. So once we have quotes on that, we'll have a better idea of what that number looks like.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, we've got a couple connections that Sarah's asking if anyone has any leads with. She's done everything, thought about it the right way, talking with the right people, building relationships, making connections, and just is running to a roadblock with a couple of folks that she thinks would be really interested in working with leads. So if anyone has any connections, we're saying. Okay, any connections with the folks who own Tropical Grill, which would be Laz and Shadid Montato, Hughes Development, and then Don and Zelma Wagner. So if anyone has any sort of connections with those folks,
Okay.
Sarah would love an opportunity. And of course, we understand that some of those, there could be connections, but it might not be, might not be a situation where you take advantage of. So if anyone has any connections, Sarah would love that. Lead Reads Week is coming up. Bookapalooza is October 22nd, and then Lead Reads Week goes until October 30th. The book giveaway for students is October 23rd, which is a Friday. There'll be a morning shift and an afternoon shift if anyone is interested in going. Sarah's working on some more media, kind of like last year, just different types of people coming and going. So the more board members that can be there, I will be there as much as we can. That's also a volunteer day for where I work as well. So hopefully
I'll be there.
it was so fun last
Yeah,
year.
I remember, it seems like it wasn't a year ago.
I know, that's when she spent
Yeah.
the time. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
So, Sarah has gotten the book giveaway portion covered. So books for students, the free books that they all get, that's completely covered. She just needs, to cover the cost of the experiences. So each grade level has a specific experience ranging from like $200 to $500 per grade level. And she's got it all spelled out, like what third, fourth, fifth, all the different grades would do, and why that range is the way it is. But if anyone is interested in sponsoring your grade level, let Sarah know, the sooner the better. It's things like, trip, like I think the Clemson DNA lab
Mhm.
trip, just things like that, that
Okay.
each is specific to each grade. So if you want a breakdown of what that is for each grade, Sarah has it. And then the last thing on here is the pop fundraiser, where we talk about that too, so.
Great.
We have an agreement. And then I'll ask Sarah Kelly what to do about approving grants as well as the safety plan. And then Finance Committee, Sarah Kelly sent over the report, and so I will read it. The Finance Committee reviewed the financials. Things are tracking according to plan minus income because the state didn't pass the budget, so we didn't see the anticipated increase. And then she also had the note on here about the speech contractor position. Is it need to be filled still, or
Yeah.
it's, oh,
It is being.
oh, okay, nice. And then this says enrollment came in below originally what was originally in the budget, but higher than worst case scenario. And this was from yesterday, so I guess maybe that
Yeah.
was the number you had too.
Right.
Yeah, so, and I would say what I reported to them is not technically enrollment, it's just a head count.
I see.
So when we do these fifth day reports, it's like a formula
Mhm.
that they determine with like students who show up versus students who don't show up, how many days they showed up by the fifth day, all
Mhm.
those things.
Okay,
And so that's very different than like literally the amount of
Yes.
students that are in the building.
Right.
Yes.
So that number was a different number. So,
makes sense, makes sense. It says on here, this was run today on Wednesday, and Jonathan will take that number and give us an updated projected state funding revenue. Based on this, we'll figure out if we need to amend the originally passed budget. All right. Well, the other piece that we have on, I didn't even mean to look on the back there, and then that reminded me. Sarah noted that she would like to change 2 of the dates we have coming up. Just to accommodate some changes with the things they've got going on. And she mentioned, Curtis, you are already okay with these changes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So if everyone's okay with it, which I guess you and I get to decide.
Yeah.
Instead of Thursday, September 16th, possibly move to Thursday, or I'm sorry, Wednesday, September 16th.
Thursday.
We need to start over.
From Thursday 17th to
Yes.
Wednesday 16th.
Moving it back to Wednesday. There we go. And then Thursday, October 15th, moving that to Thursday, October 22nd. I'll say it again, moving from Thursday, September 17th, back to Wednesday, the 16th. And then moving the Thursday, October 15th meeting forward to Thursday, October 22nd.
So the problem with the 22nd, if your dates are right, I think you just said that's the Bookapalooza.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
So we might need to
Revisit that.
repropose a different
Okay.
date for October.
excellent. I'll note that to Sarah and she can.
Yeah.
Get a new one, but that's good. We still have a month to figure that out.
And what days again on the September the 16th?
16th.
Yes.
So instead of the 17th, she's proposing to do it Wednesday the 16th.
All right.
Good catch on the book. Though. Said the numbers out loud. and Still didn't. Okay, well. That is it. Anything else?
I guess we can't motion to adjourn. So, all right.
So it's over.
That's the end. Stop.